Good evening. I'd like to call to order the regular Town Council meeting for Tuesday, April 11th, 2017. Please rise for a moment of silence. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Certainly. Fishbein.
Here.
Laffin.
Here.
Letourneau.
Here.
Marone.
Here.
Shortell. Sullivan. Testa.
Here.
Zandri. And Chairman Cervoni.
Here. Councilor Shortell should be here in 5 minutes. Councilor Zandri is with his family for the week, and Councilor Sullivan had another obligation. On to item 3.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve and accept consent agenda items A through I.
Second.
Moved and seconded, thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none.
I think it's through item 3L.
Oh, correction, yes.
Okay. Can we have an amended motion?
Motion to amend my motion to be L, not I.
Second.
The amendment is moved and seconded. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. The consent agenda passes. Item 4, there are no items removed from the consent agenda.
I think she's here.
That's correct. I do see Ms. McKean. Would you like to come up and be sworn to your position on the Inland Wetlands Commission? Thank you for your service. All right. On to item 5, the public question and answer period. Mr. Chardullo.
Paul Chardullo, 2 Bayberry Drive. Mr. Chairman, I've stated in the past that I think we have in Wallingford, we have a long-standing, what I think is a imperfect or faulty budget process. And what happens is, as a result of that process, we end up with a very erroneous budget. And if you go back and look at history, what you find is that we approve a budget with a tax increase. The budget year ends, and we have very large surpluses, both on the revenue side and the expense side. And we, at least as far back as I went, which was 5 years, we've never spent any of the 4.2 fund balance that we put in there. So there's something not right about our budget process. Last meeting, as you recall, I raised the issue of, it looked to me as if the administration, and I noticed in this forecast, or this new budget, it's repeated that the current year forecast is supposed to be a forecast, is not really a forecast. It appears to be budget numbers. In other words, if you look at this current year, the administration is forecasting, I'll use that word, $158.2 million, which was pretty much the original budget. And we know that that's inaccurate. It has to be inaccurate because last year we did the same thing, but we now have the results, and we came in at 151.8 expenses. So it seems to me that that surplus from last year should be carried forward and reflected in this year, and frankly, next year also. Now, that's a general sort of trend analysis. And I guess I want to ask a question of the mayor through the chair.
You may.
Is this 16, 17 projection for this year, is it a forecast? Is that intended to be your forecast of how we are going to end the year?
I'm not sure what line you're referring to, but we do not make forecasts on the current year's end.
Okay. That's what I thought. Their position is that they don't provide forecasts. And that is, that's irrational in my mind. If we don't know how the current year is going to end with any reasonable certainty, and I think the mayor is the only one in the position that can provide that information, then the proposed budget, which is really nothing more than the forecast, is going to be naturally erroneous. And as I say, that has happened 5 years in a row. I went back and I looked at the state-mandated audited reports for the last 5 years. And in every case, we ended up with revenue surpluses which varied from 2.8 million up to 4.5 million. And on the expense side, we came in under budget and therefore had surpluses of between 2.5 and 4.4. So based on all of this data, it seems to me that we need a forecast. I believe that the charter requires that of the mayor. I have a copy of the charter document here. Under duties of the mayor, it states that not later than 90 days before the end of the fiscal year, etc., the mayor shall provide itemized estimates of expenditures presented in parallel columns the actual expenditures for each department for the last completed fiscal year, which he has done, that's 15-16, and for the current fiscal year prior to the time of preparing the estimates, which he's also done, which is the year-to-date performance, and total expenditures as estimated for the current fiscal year. So we've heard that the mayor doesn't provide that, but that is one of his responsibilities under the charter. So I'm asking you, Mr. Chairman, to address this. Put it on the council. You can do it right now, or you can do it at another meeting to discuss it, flesh it out, and I think should be mandated that he provide that information.
So you did send me an email stating much of what you've said just now.
Right.
And I reviewed the charter, and I also had a conversation with the law department. Okay. And the legal opinion I got from the law department is that the mayor is not non-compliant with the charter. What I did do to help counselors have a more accurate perception of the state of expenditures to date is I asked the comptroller to provide us with an update with end of third quarter numbers. And the counselors all received that tonight. So that's the extent to which I will address your position.
Well, that's not enough. I understand what you're saying about the legal interpretation. To me, it's not a legal issue. It's clear, it's black and white. You don't have to go to the court to understand what it's saying. So basically, we have a serious disagreement. And I think this is a very, very serious matter. And I don't think it should be, we should move forward until this is addressed. Now, as I said to you the last meeting.
And in your email to me, because you did reply, I replied to your email, you replied to mine.
Yes, I did send you an email. But what I'm about to say is something that you already know, which is, as a resident, I have no recourse. I understand the mayor's position, and I understand the administration's position, but I rely upon the council, and as do the rest of the community, to, if you see an issue that's clear, that you take action. That's your responsibility. I have no other recourse. So am I to take it from your response that that's as far as you're going to go with it?
That is correct.
Okay. Well, let me ask also, through you, to all of the counselors. I would like to know whether any of them would be willing to place this issue on the agenda and have a conversation about it. Or are you all saying that you've read the same document I've read and you interpret it the same way as what Mr. Cervoni has articulated?
So, Mr. Ciardullo, the counselors have heard your question. I am not going to let them respond to it because I believe I have a concern that it might be violative of the Freedom of Information Act. It's not an item on the agenda, and so
okay.
I'm not going to have a council discussion on it. However, they've heard what you've said. They've also seen your emails, and they can certainly act upon your request if they so choose. I will tell you that as of last week's agenda meeting, when I prepared tonight's agenda, no counselor had raised the issue with me, but you did copy all of them on your email to me. So they are aware of your concern, and they've heard it again tonight, and I leave it to them to do as they wish.
Okay. And I'll just close by saying that I think that I hope that the residents of Wallingford are watching this meeting, and I hope that they'll take it and get involved and come up to the podium and express their outrage, because we have an obvious situation here that's being unaddressed by our council as defined by the charter. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? There being none, I close the public question and answer period. On to item 6.
Mr. Chairman, there is no item 6, but I move we go into executive session pursuant to section 1-225F and sections 1-206B of the Connecticut General Statutes regarding strategy and negotiations with respect to the pending tax appeal matter of Bristol Myers Squibb Company versus Town of Wallingford.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of going into executive session signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I declare the council in executive session. Thank you for clearing the council chambers. Call the meeting back to order. Is there a motion to come out of executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor of coming out of executive session signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, I declare the meeting back into regular session. There being no further business on this agenda, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I declare this meeting adjourned.